Hi, my name's Mark, one of the pastors at Trillium. Here's a picture of an old piano at a dump. I look at this picture, I feel kind of sad. In fact, it breaks my heart. There's a tragedy going on here. You know, Ontario at one time was an epicenter of piano manufacturing, especially upright pianos. You see, back in 1900, 1920, the piano was the center of the home. Was the entertainment center of the home. People would gather around the piano. They'd sing songs together. People would play music. They'd sing hymns. Other people would bring instruments. It was the entertainment center of the home. People gathered around the piano. But then the Depression came. People didn't have any money, so they couldn't buy pianos. The radio came, and people could listen to music rather than make their own. And later, the television, Ed Sullivan's show, people were entertained by the television, and they didn't entertain themselves anymore. And then, of course, things have developed ever since. And the need for the piano has disappeared, at least as a centerpiece of the home. And those beautiful pianos that were made in Ontario were relegated to the basement. See, because Ontario was a great piano manufacturing center in the world. As I say, especially uprights. We had companies like Nordheimer and Heinzmann, of course. Bell Piano Company in Guelph, the Dominion Piano Company in Bowmanville, Carn Piano Company in Woodstock. There's a host of companies all over southern Ontario that were producing some of the most magnificent upright pianos. You see, we had the wood and we had the craftsmanship and these magnificent pieces of art. These beautiful instruments were made, but then there was no need for them, and they wore out over time, and were forgotten in people's basements. And over the last 20 or 30 years, more and more of them are going to the dump. And it breaks my heart because we're losing connection with something from the past that's precious. See, we'll never be able to get this kind of piano manufacturing ever again. The wood's gone and the craftsmanship's been lost. And we'll never get a chance to have these kinds of pianos as part of our lives. When my grandmother heard that I was interested in studying music, she gave me her mother's piano, my great-grandmother's piano. This piano was living in the basement of a friend's home. When I went to get the piano, this friend was delighted that I would take it from her. It's a 1932 Nordheimer, but it was worn out on the outside and on the inside. At the time, I was good friends with a piano technician who offered to rebuild the piano for me, so he did. He rebuilt it from the inside, and he refinished it from the outside, and he restored it to its 1932 glory. My great-grandmother was a piano teacher. She taught piano on this instrument. My grandmother and my mother both learned how to play the piano on this instrument, and so did I. It's been a part of my life. But the link for me is much bigger than my family. I feel I'm connected to something important that came from the past. I'm connected not just to an instrument, but to a way of life, a life that put emphasis on quality, on craftsmanship, on community, on building family connections. Things that I think today are being strained in powerful ways. When I came to Trillium in 2006, I met a man named Wally Ziegler. At the time, he was struggling with cancer, probably in his late 70s at the time. He was struggling with cancer, and he died within the year of me arriving at Trillium. When I went to the memorial service, I was part of the celebration team. I listened to all the ways that he engaged his community. It was almost inexhaustible, the ways that he connected with his community, the groups he was involved in, how he blessed his community. He was a teacher. He was connected to all these social support groups and such. He made such a huge contribution to his community, and I came away sort of overwhelmed by it, awed by it. And it wasn't just Wally. He was part of a whole generation that felt the importance of giving back to the community, of making those community connections, of building something for more than oneself. And I think his Christian faith had a lot to do with it. He had been trained to think of his life as a gift, as an opportunity for blessing to come through. His life wasn't just for himself. It was what he gave away that mattered. And of course, when we gathered at his memorial service, we were celebrating all the love that he gave and all the love that he received in his life. Wally was not exceptional in this characteristic. It seemed to have been a characteristic of his generation. This understanding of life, this notion that life had been given to them, not only for their own use, but as a blessing to the world around them. And I think this generation's Christian faith had a lot to do with that. It shaped how they saw the world, how they understood their own place within the world. That their life wasn't only for themselves, it was something to be given away too. I think that we as older people have an obligation to guide our youth. But our culture tells us that we really have nothing to contribute, that we should ultimately be put into the basement, in a sense, hidden away in the basement, or even worse. And yet, when it comes to matters of love, I think we know a great deal. We have a legacy given to us, and we have our own insights to pass on to the generations that are younger than us. I think it's true that we don't understand all the technological changes. We don't understand all the cultural changes that are going on. But when it comes to love and the importance of love and the importance of giving away your life, I think as we get older, we understand this more powerfully. And that wisdom needs to be shared with others. You know, the gospel call is to walk the full way of love. And we can't do that on our own. We need the guidance also of those who have gone before us to shape us so that we too can come to a way of understanding our lives that are meant to be given away in order to be lived to their fullest.